Illinois politics is never boring, and we're expecting an announcement from Senator Roland Burris today. Political analyst Thom Serafin joins us this morning to talk about this and more. Of course, that big announcement is going to be that he's not going to run for the Senate. Why do you think he's coming out at this particular juncture at this time?
Well, he's reading the tea leaves. It's not going to be a successful campaign if he can't afford it. And he's not able to raise the kind of resources necessary. This campaign for this seat that was at one time held by Barack Obama will cost anywhere from $10 to $30–40 million for the winner. There's no way he can raise that kind of money. He understands what's going on, so he wants to get out of this thing early, spend the last 4, 5, 6 months of this year. He goes through January doing something that he can really put his stamp on, something helpful for the country. I mean, I spoke to some of his people earlier today. It's a very sad time for them, but at the same time they understand the reality.
Well, you said he was a broken man and he was distraught.
Well, I would be too. I mean, if you had an opportunity to sit in the world's most exclusive club and you can't afford to stay there just because of resources. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he's unable to raise money. But if it's about money to stay in the U.S. Senate to represent the state of Illinois, that's kind of a...
Yeah, but at the same time, Tom, if he really had a legitimate shot of winning that seat, don't you think he would find the cash somewhere and certainly people to support him?
Well, if he had a shot at winning that seat, he'd be able to raise the kind of resources necessary to stay there, and he's unable to do that.
How will we look back at Senator Roland Burris?
Well, let me tell you something about him. The first statewide black to be elected in the state of Illinois. When he was growing up, and I've been in every county of this state and been involved in a lot of campaigns, in Centralia, Illinois, he was unable to swim in the public swimming pool because he was a black man. He broke all those barriers. He understood that education was the key to get ahead in life. Education was the way to go from point A to point B. So everybody in his family is educated. He's educated. He was part of the Dan Walker cabinet back in the 70s. All of a sudden, the Democratic Party had a statewide official that they could run on the statewide ticket that was articulate, educated, and could compete. And they used it. They took advantage of it.
But is that how we're going to look back on him and say, oh, yeah, this is the...
Or was he going to be the guy that was appointed by disgraced former Governor Rod Blagojevich?
That's unfortunately the legacy. He's because of Rod Blagojevich, he's tied to Rod, and Rod's legacy is his legacy. But when you look, you have to give the man the dignity of the fact that he broke the color barrier, and he did a lot of things that most people now take for granted.
Okay, well, let's move forward now. Who has the best chance of winning that seat? You said the White House will spend $50 million if they have to make sure that seat stays as a Democrat.
Right.
Because they need the 60 votes.
Not only do they need the 60 votes, but it's going to be one of the top 2 or 3, 4 races in the country that people are going to be watching. This is Barack Obama's Senate seat. He gave it up to be president. Remember?
So I guess Blagojevich was right. That is an expensive seat.
It's a bleeping expensive seat.
Right. You know, and you talk about people that quit their offices to run for other offies. It's been in the news lately. Lisa Madigan has decided to stay where she is, not to run. And then Sarah Palin decided to,
well, let's go back to Lisa Madigan. Yeah. Okay, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, she made the right decision. I mean, she's 42 years old. She can do anything with her life. Her kids are 4 and 1. They'll be 5 and 8, in 4 years. I thought it was a very smart decision. Not only that, she and her dad are very close. She's making the right decision for Mike Madigan. Mike Madigan is making the right decision for Lisa Madigan. Remember, the first thing the good thing about politicians, if they feel with their heart and they deal with their family, I think they're making the right decisions.
You think Joe Burkett thought about this before?
Well, Joe ran a tough race last time and came close.
Yeah.
That's going to be another Donnybrook. Remember, Joe's going to take it to her. She's going to have to work this state. She's going to have to work, Southern Illinois is south of the Mason-Dixon line. It's a huge state. So she's going to have a lot of work to do to keep her office. I mean, it's not going to be an easy one. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a Democratic year based on early tea leaves. And there's going to be a lot of Republican money, a lot of Republicans getting in this race.
All right, very good, Thom Serafin. I was going to ask you about Insin, but his parents now paying off the mistress that he had.
It's a variation of pay to play, unfortunately.
It is.
Oh, boy.
I thought I wanted to get your line in right there. It's sad. It's a sad day we expect our politicians to basically go out and we're like numb to it now when they do.
Well, who really cares? I mean, a majority of people poll, so they don't really care anymore.
They don't.
Who cares?
They don't. It's unfortunate. The good thing here in Illinois is that maybe we have an opportunity to have some real races next year. The Republicans are in the game with guys like Dillard and Murphy and Brady. They have some pretty good, attractive candidates. Kirk's thinking about the U.S. Senate race. He's going to be able to raise some money, so we may have some very competitive races.
Well, that's good. We'll be following closely. All right, thank you so much, Tom.